Think you missed out on the golden age? You didn't, unless your idea of a good time includes plague pits, volcanic darkness, and rulers whose concept of justice involved fire and stakes. Today, we're diving into the 10 most unhinged moments in history that make your worst Monday feel like a luxury spa retreat. We're looking at the ultimate cursed highlight reel, where the sky turns black, the air becomes toxic, and humanity repeatedly tries to rage quit the simulation. Number 1. Vlad the Impaler, the world's deadliest landscaper. Living under Vlad the Impaler was like having a psychotic HOA president, where a minor violation, like unmowed grass, resulted in you becoming a permanent lawn ornament. Vlad was the original architect of cancel culture, but instead of losing your social media account, you lost your life from the bottom up in the most literal, agonizing way possible. He famously created entire forests of impaled victims, which must have been a logistical nightmare for the local postal service, trying to find an address while navigating rows of screaming decorations. It was a society run on pure, pants-wetting terror by a man whose only solution to every social problem was a very long, very sharp wooden stake. Number 2. The Great Smog of 1952, London's demonic hotbox. The 1952 Great Smog of London wasn't just weather, it was the entire city getting hotboxed by the fumes of a polluted hellscape for 5 straight days. A thick, yellow, greasy fog wrapped around the city like a filthy blanket, making it impossible to see your own hands, let alone find your way home. This was a completely self-inflicted disaster where everyone burned the dirtiest coal possible at the exact same time, weaponizing the very air they breathed and killing over 12,000 people. Bus conductors had to walk in front of their vehicles with torches like they were leading a demonic parade through Silent Hill, proving that sometimes humanity's best plan is just to play itself. Number 3. The year 536 AD, when the sun quit its job. If you woke up in the year 536 AD, your first thought would have been that someone forgot to pay the global sun bill. For 18 straight months, a massive volcanic fog blocked out the sun, plunging the planet into a miserable, cold twilight that was basically Earth's goth phase. Temperatures plummeted, crops failed globally, and people began to starve in a world where the sun gave no more light than the moon. Imagine trying to explain that without modern science. Everyone was just cold, hungry, and waiting for a giant jerk in the sky to stop blocking the light. It was an 18-month-long case of the Mondays that nearly broke civilization. Number 4. Magellan's Voyage, Survivor, Scurvy Island. Signing up for Magellan's voyage to circle the globe was essentially volunteering for the world's worst reality show, where the prize was usually a watery grave. As the journey dragged on, scurvy turned the crew into human raisins. Their gums would rot over their teeth, and old scars would randomly reopen like they were being haunted by past injuries. When the food ran out, fine dining meant eating sawdust and chewing on leather straps soaked in seawater just to make them soft enough to swallow. Rats became a luxury delicacy sold for top dollar, and by the time it was over, only 18 out of 270 crew members made it back, likely swearing off boats for the rest of eternity. Number 5. The Black Death, Nature's Rage Quit. The Black Death was basically the universe trying to delete the save file for the 14th century by unleashing an unstoppable force with a flair for the dramatic. It wasn't just a cough, it was a nightmare of giant, pus-filled boils that turned black before killing you in a matter of days. The medical advice of the time was hilariously bad. Doctors dressed like terrifying goth birds would suggest sitting in a sewer to escape the bad air, which is like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. It wiped out half of Europe and left a continent-wide smell of death, proving that when nature decides it's had enough of human beings, it doesn't mess around. Number 6. The Year Without a Summer, 1816. Snow in June. The year 1816 was proof that planet Earth occasionally likes to ruin our plans for its own amusement. Known as the Year Without a Summer, it featured a massive volcanic eruption on the other side of the world that filled the sky with ash and caused temperatures to drop so low that people were building snowmen in June. Farmers in New England watched their crops freeze in the middle of what should have been the growing season, triggering global famines and widespread depression. The only silver lining to this dark, frozen cloud was that the miserable weather forced Mary Shelley to stay inside and write Frankenstein, giving us a cool monster in exchange for a year of global starvation. Number 7. The Aztec Flower Wars, the world's deadliest death sport. The Flower Wars sounds like a lovely gardening competition, but in reality it was a state-sanctioned death sport designed to keep the Aztec sacrificial altars well stocked. These weren't wars for territory or resources, they were scheduled appointments for capture, where the goal was to take enemy warriors alive. The reward for the losers was a trip to the top of a giant pyramid to have their still-beating hearts removed for the gods. It was like the NFL, but instead of a Super Bowl ring, the MVP of the losing team became a divine snack, proving that the Aztecs took taking one for the team to a horrifyingly literal level. Number 8. The Great Fire of London, a masterclass in failure. The Great Fire of London in 1666 started in a small bakery, but the real tragedy was the comically inept response from the city's leadership. When the Lord Mayor was first woken up, he allegedly told his staff that the fire was so small a woman might piss it out and went back to sleep. By the time he realized urinary firefighting wasn't a valid strategy, a quarter of the city was already toast. The authorities eventually decided to use gunpowder to blow up houses to create fire breaks, a plan that often just acted like a giant leaf blower for the flames. It was a fiery train wreck of bad decisions that turned a major world capital into the world's largest charcoal briquette. Number 9. The Taiping Rebellion, Death by Standardized Testing. One of history's deadliest conflicts, the Taiping Rebellion, started because one guy, Hong Xiuquan, was a catastrophic failure at taking tests. After flunking his civil service exam for the third time, he had a nervous breakdown and decided he was the younger brother of Jesus Christ, sent to slay demons, the government. What followed was a 14-year civil war that killed 20 to 30 million people, more than the total casualties of World War I, all because one dude couldn't handle academic rejection. It's a terrifying lesson that maybe we should grade on a curve, because the alternative might be an apocalyptic war led by a guy who is really, really bad at exams. Number 10. Pompeii, the universe's most brutal photobomb. Being a resident of Pompeii in 79 AD was like winning the worst lottery in the history of the world. You probably woke up, complained about the heat, and ignored the earth tremors because, hey, it's Italy. The ground shaking is just part of the charm. Then, around lunch, Mount Vesuvius cleared its throat with the force of 100,000 atomic bombs, raining hot pumice and ash down on the city. The finale was a superheated cloud of gas moving at 100 miles per hour that flash-cooked the population into permanent statues. 1 second you're hiding under a table, the next you're a tourist attraction frozen in a panicked pose for the next 2,000 years. History proves that the good old days were usually just bloodier, colder, and significantly more on fire than the present. Now it's your turn to choose between a quick trip to Robespierre's guillotine or 900 days of freezing in Leningrad with a 10% chance of survival. Drop your logic in the comments if you're brave enough to choose. And if you survive this list without losing all faith in humanity, make sure to hit like and subscribe for more cursed history.